Hey everybody, what's going on? It's Rob with Sideways Specialties, and I have got a treat for you. So, I decided I was going to do a rebuild on this carb. This is a 1987 Mercarb. This came off a 3.0. It is a 2-barrel. There you go. Been sitting for 2 years on the boat project. 1987 Sea Ray 200 with a 3-liter 4.0. Or 3-liter 4-cylinder. That's the carb number. There you go. And opened this thing up, got into the fuel bowl, and holy smokes, this thing had what looked like piles of sawdust. So what I did was I decided to get a kit, rebuild the whole thing, give me a new needle, gave me a new what do you call it? Idle screw, give me a needle, give me a bunch of stuff, springs, fuel filter, give me a bunch of washers for sealing, a bunch of what looks like crush sleeves, and got everything out of it. Put it in the WD-40 Specialist rust remover, and now it's awesome. This thing is way cleaner than it was before. Way, way, way cleaner. And believe it or not, before I did this, I can't even believe it, but it actually idled. Yeah, buddy. So, with that being said, I took this whole thing apart, rebuilt it. One of the things that does not work still is the choke. If you have this carb, this is where it is, this is what it looks like. Sticks out from the side. It doesn't work. The way you can tell that it doesn't work is it's 12 volt actuated. So what happens is electricity, positive goes in here, and you probably have a little jumper that's hooked on to the edge of the carb. Well, what that's doing is it's heating up this coil so the spring gets soft, and it allows the airflow in here to pull this thing straight up and down. Now, the only way for that to really happen is if you actually have this thing working. Well, mine does not work. And I looked online. Well, I didn't look up a whole lot, but it was like $130 or $150 through West Marine just for this stupid part. So I was like, okay, well, since it's already broke, I can't really hurt it to do any more and tear it apart. So I took it off of here, and now I'm down to this. Well, after that, what I did was those rivets right here and here, I drilled them out. So when I see, well, like little boys do, well, what's behind this thingy? What are they hiding that they can't put a screw there? Well, they're hiding this. This is what's inside it. There's an O-ring, there's a contact tab, which usually 90% of the time that still works. Get all the corrosion out and you're good. So that part's out. Then, oop, I dropped it. Then there's this thing that's sitting in there. Looks like a penny. It's not. It looks like one of those air relief valves or bleed valves you find on like a pneumatic vibrator, ball bearing vibrator that you know, the air can escape from, like a brass honeycomb. What this is it's like a metallic alloy, and it's a resistor. This little thing right here makes contact on here. This thing gets nice and hot. That heat transfers through here, through this post, warms this thing up, and guess what it does? This thing gets softer and allows for motion. So really nothing mechanical is happening, just the thermal equilibrium is changing. So what I did was I got in here, this thing was just loaded with corrosion all over through here. So once I got that off, I flipped this over, took a look at, ground on it a little bit, and suddenly this little bit of a smell of familiarity came to me. When I was grinding on this, I figured out what this is. And since this is an alloy right here, which is like a pot metal, I now know that all it was adhesive. And the reason they put adhesive on here is so the heat can transfer through. So if I wanted to, I could literally take this, I could stick this back on here with adhesive again, and it'd be perfectly fine. It just didn't have any contact. Once I got all that stuff off the back of it, everything was perfectly fine. However, I have not tested across here. Now that I look at it a little bit more, it's kind of a recent discovery. we're gonna see if we can get anything out of it. I don't know if you can see that or not. There we go. Yeah, so we got essentially 968 kilo ohms. 1 meg. So we got 1 mega ohm. What we need to do is we need to get this bastard glued back on here, or JB Weld will work good with the heat. We need to get this thing nice and tight to this metal right here. I don't know how we're going to do that. I guess there is some high temp glue out there, I'm sure. But I know that this thing gets pretty warm to the touch once it's warmed up. Because what it'll do is we'll sit there, we'll turn on the ignition, we won't try to crank it, and what'll happen is it'll start going like this. This will be like 30 seconds, a minute, minute and a half, 2 to 2 1/4 minutes. It'll be full open, it'll sit there. You're not just going to turn the thing on, this thing's going to go like this. It doesn't work that way. This thing has to warm up and get softer and softer and softer, and as it does that, this starts to tilt. After about 2 full minutes, this will be straight open. So that's kind of an inconvenience. Yeah, but at the same time, you know, you should probably clean other things if it's taking you a full choke every single time you start the boat. So as long as we get this back on here, we save ourselves $150. I don't know what kind of glue I'm going to use on this yet, but I'm sure I can find something high temp adhesive, high temp epoxy, something along those lines. But yeah, that's all that's inside it. Yeah, when I opened it though, this thing had fuzz probably, I would say, all the way out to here, all the way out to the ring. It looked like somebody had dumped a handful of salt inside this thing. So just thought I'd throw it out there and maybe you'll get something out of it. Oh, and that rust remover stuff, this is brass. Go ahead and just dip that thing in your rust remover if you get some to clean out with your carb. And yeah, after that everything should be good. Short video, but you know, if it saves 100, 120, 150, 200 bucks depending on where you get it, West Marine 1,000, then yeah, maybe it'll help you get back on the water quicker. I mean, we always got until the ice, right? Alright, thanks for joining and watching, and see ya.